Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. The 5 points I articulate are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and for the entire month of October, we're going to have some very special Halloween reviews. We've looked at Michael Myers from Halloween 2018 and Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part 7. Today, we're going back to the classics with the ultimate monster from Frankenstein. Starting off the packaging, and the front flap has this wonderful vintage Frankenstein movie poster. The face of the monster has been spot varnished, but the rest of it is a matte finish. Gives it a really neat effect. Unfortunately, that matte finish continues on the sides and on the back. And I gotta say, it is a real bear to film. I like the poster, but they really should have made the rest of the box glossy because the contrast looks really washed out. But just like the Frankenstein monster himself, it's what's inside that counts. Once again, we get a very nice product shot. I absolutely love this diorama that they built with the stairs and the window. But of course, this is the important part. My issues with the finish aside, it's still a wonderfully designed box. So for packaging, I'm giving Frankenstein's monster 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, and the Frankenstein monster towers at a whopping 8 inches. Starting off with the flat-topped head, and this is an incredible recreation of the makeup created by Jack Pierce and worn by Boris Karloff. Fun fact, the reason why the Frankenstein monster looks so gaunt is because Boris Karloff wore dentures, and for the scenes of him playing the monster, he simply took them out. Another fun fact, those electrodes actually left permanent scars. Moving on down, and he's basically just wearing a black costume, but there's some nice dry brushing to bring out the detail, and even a bit of brown to give him a muddy look. Moving down the arms, we have his long, ghoulish fingers. Another thing I really like about this figure is the color. He's sufficiently greenish without being over the top, but there's also a lot of purple in there to make him look sufficiently corpse-like. Not much more to see on the back, but going all the way down and we see those crazy Frankenstein platform shoes. Unlike modern horror movies, there were no latex appliances used. Instead, the monster's look had to be painstakingly recreated every single time using cotton balls and collodion. This figure perfectly captures that incredible effort. For presentation, I'm giving the Frankenstein monster 1 whole point. Moving on to posability, and not only does Frankenstein's monster have a dumbbell joint in his head, he also has a joint at the bottom of the throat. Using both, he can look up this much, all the way down, crazy amount of tilt, and all the way around. Moving on down, he's got swivel hinge shoulders, single jointed elbows. In my opinion, they look a lot better than this double jointed system, and they do actually cut more than 90 degrees. Compare that to the double jointed elbows, which don't really get that much more, and look way too rounded. And of course, they also swivel. Moving on down to his monster hands, and he has swivel hinge for the wrists. No torso articulation, but he does have a barbell joint at the waist. He can arch back that far and hunch over that far. Slight amount of tilt, but all the twist. Below the waist, and Frankenstein's monster has ball jointed hips, great amount of swivel, single jointed knees, they also swivel. Moving on down to the ankles, not much forward, but a bit back, and awesome pivot. I think we picture the Frankenstein monster as this slow, lumbering brute and really forget just how physically involved that performance was. Thanks to the articulation in this figure, it's not just posable, it's alive! It's alive! For posability, I'm giving Frankenstein's monster 1 whole point. Before we continue, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button, I put a lot of love in these videos and your likes help more people to see them. Moving on to playability, and the monster comes with this alternate open mouth head. He also includes this expression for when he was checking out Frankenstein's bride Elizabeth. Moving on down, he has these alternate monster hands. He could definitely use to see a manicurist. To be honest, I don't really see a big difference between these two, but you know what? It's always nice to have options. And speaking of options, the hands go great with these shackles. Just pop off the hand, slip on the shackle, and then plug it back in. And honestly, you could probably have loads of fun using them on other figures too. He also comes with this more gestury hand, and this one for speaking Italian. Hey, what's the matter, you? No, these hands are actually for holding daisies. I think it is so cool that NECA included these, but do be warned, if you ever drop them, these things will get lost in a carpet faster than a little girl in a lake. But playability is more than just shackles and daisies, it's also about how well your figure plays with others. So here he is with the only other versions of Frankenstein that I have. On the left we have Frankenstein from the Real Ghostbusters by Kenner, and on the right we have Frankenbeans from Big Bad Beetleborgs. For a modern monster comparison, here he is with Pennywise, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, and Chucky. And for the modern monster who's most often compared to him, here he is with a couple of versions versions of Jason. Here we have Jason from the final chapter and the New Blood, but I really wanted to focus on this version from Freddy vs. Jason. Between the platform shoes and the coat, it just feels like a more deliberate choice. For a Marvel comparison, here he is with the Incredible Hulk, Legends on the left and Select on the right, and for a DC comparison, here he is with Bizarro. For a relative scale comparison, here he is with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and of course, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. And uh-oh, looks like they're all out of daisies. Unlike a character like Jason, there aren't really as many obvious accessory options for someone like the Frankenstein monster, but NECA's been very creative and has given us all the spare parts that we need to bring this monster to life. For playability, I'm giving the Frankenstein monster 1 whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. Depending on where you get him, Frankenstein's monster will set you back between $30 and $33. At 8 inches tall with 3 heads, 6 hands, and more, this figure can definitely be my Frankenstein. For price, I'm giving the Frankenstein monster 1 whole point for a grand total of 5 out of 5. For more monster-themed reviews, check out these videos on Michael Myers from Halloween 2018 and Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, A New Blood. We're in the final stretch to Halloween and there's still some more special videos left, so definitely keep your eyes peeled. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.